5 and below? Hello, can you go 5 and below? Motivation to sew. Hello, can you go 5 and below? Motivation to sew. We going 5 and below. Motivation to sew. We getting ready to sew.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rochelle from Rochelle.Handmade.Designs, and in this video we are doing the next episode, which this episode is episode number 4 in the series titled 5 and Below. So if this is your first time tuning in, you have missed a lot. So let me catch you up right quick. So basically, every week, myself as well as Talisha from Creativity by T, we have created this series called #sewing5andbelow. And in that series, what we're doing is we're bringing you a different category every single week and a pattern where you could sew up that has 5 pattern pieces or less, okay? Now, we have started the series way back on March the 6th was the first episode. We kicked off an announcement video on March the 3rd. So I'm going to go ahead and link that announcement video up in the cards above so you can see that video. March 6th kicked off the video where we did jackets. From there, we went ahead and did a top. From tops last week, we did pants. And then this week, we are doing dresses. So, you know, dress to impress or say yes to the dress. So this week is all about dresses, and I'm going to give you all the details on the dress that I created. All right, so before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe button, and also turn on the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get right on into this video, but I do want to make note of the posting times. So even though next week is the last episode with the grand finale the week after of April 10th. So April 3rd is the last episode where we will give you another category, and then you got to come back on the 10th for the grand finale. You wouldn't want to miss because prizes will be given out on my channel as well as on Talisha's channel with a prize pack. So you have to stay tuned for that April 10th, okay? All right, also posting time. So we are posting every Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make note of that. Mark your calendar, set your notification bell, you know, go ahead and turn it on while you're at it so you will not miss any one of these videos. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this pattern, which what I made was McCall's 7464. Now, this pattern is out of print, and I do apologize about that because when I selected this pattern, I was selecting this pattern as a revisit pattern. So this pattern, as well as the pattern that Talisha chose, it is another revisit of a pattern that you have done before. Now, the reason why I have chose this pattern and why I chose it for this series is because it is 5 pattern pieces or less, which I will tell you how many pattern pieces I use. If you want to take a wild guess of how many pattern pieces I use, go ahead and comment below because this is used as participation for my channel. Even if you get it right or wrong, it is used as participation. But the pattern that I chose is McCall's 7464 in order to, you know, contribute this to the #sewing5andbelow. So I'll give you more details about that, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into the pattern description. All right, so this is a Mrs. or Petite panel dress. It's a fitted dress. It has side, front, and back panels, and it also has sleeves variation. Now in view A and view D, you have the purchase piping, which I didn't want to do piping, so that's why I did not do that. View A has a contrast side front and side back panel, and it's sleeveless as well. Whereas view B, you have the patch pockets, which I did not include on my dress, and it's short sleeve as well. That's the view that I did. The only thing that I did was leave out the pockets to make this a dress without the pockets. I didn't want to do the patch pockets on the front. View C, it has the bias side front and side back panels and also have a short sleeve option. And then view D, which is the elbow length one, and it has like 3/4 length sleeves. So that's a little bit about the pattern description. The reason why I chose it is because it is a panel dress. I have done this before. It's too small, right? And I just wanted to revisit the pattern. So now that I gave you a little bit about the pattern description, let's go ahead and get into the notions used. So the notions used for this pattern is just thread and a 22-inch invisible zipper. That's it. No buttons, no snaps, no elastic. No. You just need a 22-inch invisible zipper. All right. So now that we talk about notions, let's go ahead and talk about the fabric used. So the fabric used for this pattern is the exact same fabric that I used last week for my Jenny pants, okay? That was Simplicity 9268 that I used. I just used the rest of that fabric. I have a little bit left, probably about a yard, which I'm not gonna do anything with. So I just went ahead and used that fabric in order to create this dress. That fabric, once again, is a Telio crepe fabric. I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen and link to it if I could still find the fabric, okay? So that's the fabric used. So now that I talked about the fabric used, let's go ahead and talk about the pattern pieces used for this pattern. So for the pattern pieces used, I use a total of 5 pattern pieces. So I use pattern piece number 1, my front, pattern piece number 2, the side front, and then you have pattern piece number 3, the back, pattern piece number 4, the side back, and then pattern piece number 6, which is the sleeves, okay? So it's a total of 5 pattern pieces, but this pattern is actually 6 pattern pieces if you decide to do the patch pocket. Now for this dress, and because it's a panel dress, I decided not to do the pockets because it just did not look something that I would wear for a LBD, little black dress. I did not want patch pockets on this type of dress and this type of fabric because I could see myself wearing this dress to, you know, outside, like a little date night in a little black dress. You could wear it to a funeral. You could wear it to a wedding if you choose so. You can wear this dress anywhere, and having patch pockets right in the front for this dress, no, I didn't like that. So I did not include the pockets, so that's why my dress only took 5. I said 5. I said 5 pattern pieces, all right? So now that we talked about the pattern pieces used, let's go ahead and dive into the pattern sizing. So for this pattern is an older pattern. So for this pattern, the pattern sizing comes in, I believe it comes in like 6 to 14. I'm going to put it up on the screen. 6 to 14 and then 14 to 22. Like I said, it's an old pattern, so I don't remember the actual size range that it comes in, but I believe it's 6 to 14 and then 14 to 22. The size that I cut for this pattern is a size 20. Now, I could have got away with cutting a size 18, but on the pattern, and because I just did the shirt dress the day before yesterday, I basically did not want something to be tight. So I went for a 20 simply because the finished bust measurement was like a 44.5, which gave me a lot of room up top. And then the waist was like a 35.5 or something like that. So it gave me room in the waist. The problem was the hips. The hips was a 47.5. So because it's a panel dress, I did not want it to just basically look weird and do one of these kind of like out and then come back in, because my waist is way smaller than my hips by like a good 10 inches. So because of that, I just went ahead and kind of cut one side to where I didn't have to do all that extra, you know, sizing up, sizing down, all of that stuff. And it fits perfect. I thought it was amazing, even though the wind was blowing the entire time through the photos. But yeah, that's the size that I cut for this pattern. All right, so now that I talked about the size that I cut, let's go ahead and talk about modifications. Did I make any modification? Yes, and I'm gonna put in a clip, but I'm also going to do a separate video so you guys could see this at a different time as well if you just wanna go to this video. But what I did for this is, this dress calls for lining. I did not have any tricot in order to do the lining, and I didn't have enough fabric to just line it with the same fabric. So what I did was create facing pieces. So I created a front and back facing piece to attach to the neck area. How did I do that, you may ask? So what I did was the front portion of it, which I'm gonna show you. The front portion, what I did was I pretty much traced the neck area, went down the center front 3 inches where that fold is on the front and on the back, right? I went down 3 inches on the front, and then at the shoulders, I went from the center front where the dot is 3 inches out towards the armhole. And then what I did was connect those, making sure that everything was 3 inches all the way around. Make your marking, your grain line, your cut on the fold, make some notches, and that was it. And then you needed to make sure that you interface and attach it like you would normally do for, you know, doing facing. So that was one modification that I did. I did not make any additional modifications outside of doing the front and back facing for this dress. And I like it that way better because, I mean, how else are you gonna attach it if you don't add lining? You definitely need to have facing for this dress if you do not do any lining, or you could just basically do a double fold, but I just figured that this dress definitely needed facing pieces for stability, you know, to make sure that it stays and do what it needs to do. All right, so now that we talk about modification, let's talk about if the photos look like the photos on the pattern envelope. Yes, it does. However, one thing that I would say is a lot of my photos, because it was windy, you couldn't really tell, but this dress came out exactly like the photos on the pattern envelope. All right, so now that we talked about photos, let's go ahead and get into my likes and dislikes for this pattern. All right, so there's no dislikes for the pattern. It's all love. However, it is a dislike for me for one reason. I think for this dress, now before I did this dress in a crepe, and it's this black. I did a black crepe many moons ago when this pattern first came out, and I think this pattern came out in like 2014, maybe 2015 when I did it then, and I used the black crepe. So I did the exact same thing and used the black crepe. One thing that I want to mention is because you cannot see the panels in this dress. It just looks like a shift little black dress. So I did not like that, but it's not a pattern issue. It was just a fabric choice issue for me. So that's one thing that I didn't like. I think it would have been really, really nice if I would have color blocked it, since I was using such a, you know, dark fabric. And that's something that I should have considered when I did this fabric, you know, chose this fabric for this pattern, but I did not. I just figured that it looked amazing when I did it before. And I mean, it still looks amazing. It's just, I know for me, I should have probably color blocked this dress, but there's no dislike whatsoever. It's all love, and I like this pattern. I would do this pattern again. Speaking of would I do it again, before I get into that, let's talk about these instructions. Are the instructions easy to follow? Listen, I think a kid could follow these instructions. I'm gonna say this is a beginner-friendly pattern. Outside of the lining, you could create facing pieces and all that crap, all that good stuff. Right? However, I'm gonna say this is not only beginner friendly, but a kid could do it simply because you're just repeating the same steps twice. What that means is basically you're attaching the side front to the front, the side back to the back, attach it together, you know, at the shoulder seams, insert the zipper, drop your lining if you create the lining, which you're creating the lining exactly like you do the front and the back pieces, no different. If you're doing the facing, you're just attaching the facing to the neck edge. Other than that, everything was super easy to do. I believe this pattern is rated easy. I'm not sure. But yes, this is a easy pattern and the instructions are definitely easy to follow. But you guys know, since I have done it before, I did not follow with the instructions, but I have used the instructions before and I did read through the instructions for the sake of this pattern review. So yes, the instructions are easy to follow. Now that we talked about the instructions, let's go ahead and talk about, once again, first time experiences. Did I have any first time experiences? No, none. I have drafted, facings before. I have inserted zippers before. I have done a panel dress before. So no, I didn't have any first time experiences. So would I sew this again? Yes, I would sew this again. And if I sew it again, I would either use a lighter fabric or do a color block for this dress. But yes, I would sew it again. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about pattern recommendations. So you guys, there are so many patterns that you can do for this dress. Now, for a dress like this. Now, one of the patterns that I'm going to shoot out is the pattern that I just done at the beginning of the year, Simplicity 8514. I think that's the pattern number. I'm going to go ahead and put it up on the screen. It's similar. The only difference is it's not a panel dress. It is just a straight up shift dress that you could do. So basically, this calls for 5 pattern pieces. You know, you got your front, your back, your facing piece, and your sleeve. That's it. 5 pattern pieces and you're done. So I'm going to put up the picture that I did at the beginning of the year of this dress, and that's my pattern recommendation for you. Now, would I recommend this pattern to others? Yes, I would recommend this pattern to others. However, if you want this pattern, you would have to get it off the eBay, Etsy, or Amazon. You cannot get this in Joann's whatsoever because it's out of print, like I just said previously. All right, so now that we talked about would I recommend this to others, let's go ahead and talk about my pattern rating. So for my pattern rating, I'm going to give this pattern a 5 out of 5 because I love the pattern. Now, if you include the fabric or whatever, I would give it like a 3.5 out of 5. But this pattern is a good pattern and I am going to rate it 5 out of 5. I love this dress. It's just the fabric was just on my nerves after I took the photo. I was just like, no, I don't like the fact that I couldn't see the details, but this is a 5 out of 5. I'm still gonna wear the dress because I can layer it, and you will see that eventually in another photo, all right? So now that we are done with the pattern review, let's go ahead and get into the shout outs for this week, all right? So we have tons of shout outs, okay? Now, when I say we have tons of shout out, we have tons of shout outs. You guys are using the hashtag sewing5andbelow. So I love that. So I'm not going to take any more of your time. I'm going to go ahead and get right on into these shout outs. Number 1, the first person that I want to shout out this week is Rachel Lynn from Rachel Lynn Create. So what Rachel created, she created a St. Patty's Day shirt. She used Adrian blouse by Friday Pattern Company. So I believe for this pattern, I do not have this pattern, but I have seen so many individuals on Instagram sew this pattern. So this may be something that I may think about or consider purchasing at some time or whatever. But I believe this pattern was a 5 pattern piece. If I'm incorrect, Rachel, please correct me and put it in the comment below on how many pattern pieces you used in order to create this blouse. Now, I'm gonna say I think it was a total of 4 pattern pieces, the front, the back, the neckband, and the sleeves, but she will make sure that I know exactly how many pattern pieces that she used. All right, so the second person that I want to shout out this week is Sew Joey. So Sew Joey is here on YouTube as well as on Instagram. Sew Joey created 2 looks. So the first one that she created was a St. Patty's Day green flick knit top by Style Art Patterns. And the funny part about it is I seen this pattern when Style Art did the hashtag Sewing Purple to End ALZ that I participated in last year for at Michelle Sews Again. When she did that, I participated in it because if you guys don't know, I talked about my mother having Alzheimer's disease and dementia. So I participated in that, and I actually was between choosing that pattern and something and a different pattern. I think it was the Mackenzie blazer, but I'm going to go back to style art because there are so many style art patterns that I do like. And this may be one that I choose because I did see that. I did put it in the cart, but I did not purchase it. So thank you, So Joey, for reminding me to purchase that pattern. The second thing that So Joey sewed was for hashtag Sew Yellow for Indro. So if you don't know what Indro is, it's endometriosis. All right. So I do have a friend that suffers from it, and she sewed another top. So the top that she created is a pattern scissors cloth top, which she stated in her post that it is one of her favorite t-shirt patterns, which is the Galaxy T. So she created that, and I'm pretty sure it's probably about 4 pattern pieces or so. Go over to So Joey on Instagram so you can see her make. Also follow the hashtag sewingfiveandbelow on Instagram so you can see all the ladies' makes as well. The third person that I want to shout out is Hollywood Wear. So Hollywood Wear made a complete wardrobe. She used a total of 7 pattern pieces to make 3. I said 3. I said 3 items, okay? So the first item that she made is Butterick 6742, which was some cotton pants that she made. And I believe on this one, she used a total of 3 pattern pieces. I think it was the front, the back, and the waistband. However, I'm not sure because I did not pull the pattern. I have this pattern. I did not pull it out to confirm how many pattern pieces. But in her post, she said she used a total of 7 pattern pieces to make all the looks in her collection. The second thing that she made was Simplicity 9045, which is a high neck top, which I plan on making that this summer, by the way. So it was good to see her version of that top. And the last one that she made a purse using McCall's 8272, I believe is the pattern number. So yeah. And if I'm incorrect, I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen as well so you can see photos as well. But that was a purse that she made. So thank you so much, Hollywood Wear, for your contribution to hashtag sewing5andbelow. The fourth person we're going to shout out is, you guys may know, Grandma Pearls. Yes, Miss Prissy. So yeah, so Miss Prissy got in on the action when she created Simplicity 8912. I have not sewn this dress. It's been on my list forever, but I know Talisha, she sewn this dress for a vacation. I believe Talisha have done it twice. She made it in a yellow, which I will go ahead and put up of Talisha's. She made it in a yellow, and then she made it again in like an anchor fabric or whatever for vacation that she took last year. I remembered it so well because I remember commenting on it and said, this has been on my list forever, Talisha. I need to get around to doing it. So you guys remind me that I need to move a lot of these things up towards the top of my list because it's less than 5, but it's 5 at least, 5 pattern pieces or less. So that's what I'm going for this summer as well. So thank you guys for reminding me to put it towards the top of my list. All right, so number 5, we have another one. We have Miss Deborah Lloyd. So Miss Deborah Lloyd, her handle on Instagram is Debbie Lloyd 56 on Instagram. And what she sewed is McCall 7721 view C on that pattern. Yes, she used a fabric from Melanated Fabrics as well. So thank you so much, Miss Debbie Lloyd, for your contribution. Next person, we have Mr. Charlie's Angels. Yes, so she sewed the same pattern that Talisha sewed last week, which was Simplicity 1463. She used a total of 5 pattern pieces. Now, one thing that I want to mention is many of us sleep on Walmart, and Walmart has bargain fabrics, and Mr. Charlie's Angel definitely said that she bought some bargain fabric from Walmart to create this top, and it's amazing. So go over to the hashtag or go over to her channel and you will see exactly what she created. And the last person that we need to shout out this week, which she was, you know, highlighted last week as well, but it's Tanya D. Bryant, Just Lovely Living on Instagram. So I want to say that she sewed Butterick 6685 View A, I think, on the pattern. And one thing I want to say about Tanya is in her post, she said something interesting. We get caught up in the difficult patterns. I wouldn't say difficult, but patterns that requires a lot of pattern piece. So she had to take a step back and she remembered the sewing challenge that myself as well as Talisha has, hashtag sewing5andbelow. So she pulled out a pattern with at least 5 pattern pieces or less, you know, minimum, you know, there's not a minimum, maximum, 5 pattern pieces or less, and did a top. So that's something that she said that she wants to remember, that it's not about the difficulty of different patterns. Sewing things that are one easy, something minimal, and something that she could get done quickly. So she was thankful that we created this type of series for everyone to just pull out these old patterns, new patterns, whatever the case may be, and sew something up so quick. So those are my shout outs for the week. That's all that I have in this pattern review of McCall's 7464. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. So let me make note. Next week is the final episode that we will be showcasing a new category. But please make sure you stay tuned for April 10th, as we will have a grand finale to this season. I know you guys have asked me, are you guys doing it again in a few months or whatever? Here's the thing. I work, Talisha work. We have not talked about doing it again, but this is something that I would like to do again, probably next year or something like that with Talisha. We would have to talk about it and let you know what we decide, but just keep following our channel, keep following the hashtag. If for some reason we missed you, because we do follow the hashtag, make sure anytime you post something, tag myself, tag Talisha, and use the hashtag sewing5andbelow so we could share your creation and also shout you out in one of our videos. So that's all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep sewing.
5 and below. Hello, can you go 5 and below? Hey. Motivation to sew. Hello, can you go 5 and below? Hey. Motivation to sew. We going 5 and below. Motivation to sew. We getting ready to sew. Come on, y'all, let's get ready to sew. Below. Hello, can you go 5 and below? Hey. Motivation to sew. Hello, can you go 5 and below? Hey. Motivation to sew. We going 5 and below. Motivation to sew. We getting ready to sew. Come on, y'all, let's get ready to sew.